Hi there, this is Jay from I Wonder UK. 2nd of October 2022, sunny afternoon, not out walking or camping, so I thought I'd just go through my lovely Lanshan 1. It's a Lanshan 1 2021 version, which is slightly longer, and I've got the 4-season inner. But I've used it now for 3 long distance walks: Southwest Coastal Path, Norfolk Coastal Path and the Devon Coast to Coast, and I've used it and I love the bloody thing. Just wanted to show you little tips that I've done. If you haven't used one before, this is who it's aimed at. So let's get into it. When I first got this, I pulled it all apart like everybody does, every excited lad. This is my footprint bag and this is my peg bag, and they've been attached to that, and that's where the tent is since I've had it. It may seem a minor inconvenience, but I'd much rather have these dangling off than blowing down the field. Like I said, I've had it like that from day one. When you first get your lovely new tent, do not, I repeat, do not touch this bit. From the little bit of hood at the top there, guy rope comes down, little lock line there, comes down to here, through where the peg is, and then back up through here to the bottom of your doors. Do not adjust that. This knot at the bit in here is critical, I guess, for want of a word. And the actual length, you can adjust it from that line lock there and the one further up the door. One pulls the top of the tent from your trekking pole, and the other one adjusts the bottom of the door so you can bring it out taut. They're supposed to have a gap at the bottom. There's several different adjustments you can do to adjust them up and down depending on the weather and the conditions, obviously. Treat yourself and get a footprint. This is the way it goes up, with the light grey bits, reinforcing bits in the corner. Goes up that way, and then obviously, or maybe not obviously, the back bit here, this one here, is the back, opposite the door. And it's ideal, because if you chuck it down, loosely peg it out, you've got to start to be able to put your tent up, but then you can also just lay on it to see if it's comfy enough, or lumps, sharp bits, whatever, before you actually set it all up. This is the bit that's crucial. This is where the top of your trekking pole goes. You turn it inside out, it's the way I do it. Get the trekking pole into there, get it comfortable, and then put your hand right over the other side. Put what I'm going to call the hood, which is the door, and the black bit, which is the vented bit at the top of your door, right over, and then cup your hand around where the trekking pole was to stand it up. Loop at the bottom of your inner tent. Once you've got the cup and you start standing it up, stand it and then just step it over into there, which gives the inner a little bathtub bit when you pull out. I haven't put the guy ropes out at the moment, but I promise every occasion I do, you see the side of the tent where your head or your feet go, that gives it just that little bit more tension, and it's strong. It's really strong. You can pull it out and it stops the inner touching the outer. But yeah, every occasion put your guy ropes out. There's a couple of Velcro tabs on here and they really are strong. I do love them. I'm not going to demonstrate, I'm sure we all know what to do with this. This rolls up and you get it back onto there, hook it over with a little toggle, same as the inner tent. I found with a little bungee on the end of the door, what I do in the morning when I first get up, especially if there's dew on the ground or something, I come out and I just push this through this guy rope knot at the end, so it's not even knotted, it's just holding on. That's just enough to hold the door out flat so it can get some air in the tent and dry out in the morning. A few bits with your trekking pole. This is adjusted to 125 centimeters at the moment. If I'm on ropey ground, I put it about 123, put it in and then push it back up afterwards. But I'll show you that more closely. That's the crucial bit, which is reinforced at the top. And when you first put it in, before you start pegging it out, bring this loop in for your inner tent. That's just enough to pull it back out again, which works great. You'll be able to tell when you're inside it, and it will vary on the different ground you've got, but there's a nice little bit of clearance all the way around between the inner and outer. And like I say, you can finesse it, start pulling it in and out and adjusting the pole up and down, the little straps on the outside, but there's a lot of adjustment in this tent. Another little mod I've got for this tent that I haven't had to use in earnest yet, this little loop at the top here, which sits just over the head of your trekking pole. I've got two lines that come where you thread them through there, bring one out that way and one out that way, and the same the other side if it's really windy. My thinking is if you can keep the trekking pole, which is the only pole you've got in there, solid, and hopefully it will keep your tent up. Like I say, I've carried them but I haven't had to use them yet. It's always stood up to everything I've thrown at it. On the bottom of my door guideline, for want of a word, I've actually got it so I've put a little bit of bungee on there for extra strength. And what I do if it's really windy, you may have heard me talk about this several times, call it double pegging. So that peg there has gone in at that angle into the ground as far as you can get it. Because all of that strength is getting pulled on your tent there, I double peg it across this way as well. So basically at a right angle, but still at an angle, and push that right into the ground. And that's worked for me on several occasions when it's been really strong wind. These are the pegs I've swapped out to. I think they're aluminium or alloy, lightweight. Look like that from the end, 3 ways, but they stick in the ground nice, and I guess they're what, 6-7 inches long, but they're still nice and lightweight, and you can pick them up relatively cheaply. Again, as a little modification, I'm not sure what that thing there is called, lark spur or something like that, but that's where your line comes down from your doors, double doors. I've got another bit of bungee tied around that, and I'll be honest, as you may see, I've only got one of those attached. Well, I've used this thing this year in 60 odd nights, and I have connected it once or twice to connect there to there, but I find that when I pull the zip down, push this bottom bit with the Velcro, and that's held, and I've never had any problem with it. I've heard a lot of people have problems with these and replace them with metal ones. I never have, I might have just got lucky. One of the things that I love about this tent, and I think that's what makes it ultimately adjustable, is you haven't just got a bungee on the bottom, you've got this strap. Every time you take down your tent, loosen that off, just to lift up, like the same as a rucksack. But you get hold of that tag, and that's how you can get the tension in all the way around. Obviously the peg's not in properly at the moment. I always put them in loosely to start off with, just to bung it up, and then go around adjusting them afterwards. As on most tents, I think, when you're putting them up or down, when you've finished with it, air it out. Make sure your inner and your outer zips are done down, secured and velcroed, because that makes a good job for the tension next time you pull it open. To drop the tent down, just leave the pegs in but just unloosen the straps right the way out again. Like I said, same as a rucksack strap. And just loosen them all out. Now take the tension out of the tent, and then just take your front guy rope out. You can actually drop it down to there. Little tip, if it's windy, or I do it most of the time now, to be honest with you, I'll leave at least a couple of the pegs in. Like I was saying, leave a couple of pegs in, so if the wind was travelling in this direction, you're not going to lose your tent or your inner. You might think it's a bit of a nose trying to get these off of here, but they're easy to do. These pull strings just pull out the way, and you can just, once the tension's off, they'll loop back over, but it's better than chasing your tent down a field. Just pull these over like that, and then again I'll leave those and take the top tent off and leave the inner pegged out still. With the remaining couple of pegs I've got in there, what I do in the morning, a lot of the time it's going to be damp, etc. Give it a fold over, but it's not going to go anywhere because you've got the two pegs in it. Let the sun or the air dry it out. Roll your footprint how you want, but how I like to do it is to leave the guy ropes hanging out at the bottom. Then they get stuffed in last. I've used this for like over 8 weeks this year. 8 weeks worth of nights, however many that is, and I haven't had them tangled once. 1, you're stealing dirt off someone, and 2, there's nothing worse than getting your hands shitty the next time you go to use it. As always, I'm not trying to make myself out to be some sort of wild camping guru. These are just things that I did and worked for me. If you've got any other ideas, put them in the comments below. It might help somebody out. Thanks for watching. Please consider looking at my other stuff on my channel. I've done the Southwest Coast Path and other things I've talked about before, but it'll help me out. If you like, subscribe. I never get round to putting a button on it. I'm still not very good at this. Cheers, thanks for watching. Hope you got something from it. Jay from I Wonder, I'm out of here.